In this video, I will show you how to create in-app web view in Flutter. If you are looking for a Flutter plugin that's able to display web content in Flutter app, this is the right video for you. For example, in my emulator, Flutter GitHub website is displayed in my Flutter app. I can scroll through the web content, and when I click on the link, I am redirected to the Flutter official documentation website. Then, when I click on Get Started button, I am navigated to another web page. Now, when I click on the bottom left button on Android device, I will be navigated back to the previous web content. And when I click again the same back button, I will be back to the initial Flutter GitHub web view. So in this Flutter in-app web view tutorial, you will learn how to create this web view and also how to control navigation in web view. Let's dive into the code. In this tutorial, we will be using this Flutter in-app web view package, which you can find in pub.dev. Next, add the suitable package dependencies into your Flutter project. In this tutorial, I'm using version 6.1.5. Coming back to main.dart file, I have created a simple scaffold widget with an app bar and an empty column body widget, which I will be creating the WebView widget step by step from scratch. Now, in order to use this WebView package, firstly in main function, add widgets flutter binding .ensure initialize method. Coming back to our scaffold widget, we can now create the web view using InAppWebView widget. This widget comes from the package, so make sure you import the package. In this web view, there is a parameter called initial URL request. This parameter is where we add the link to the web content that we wanted to display. So it takes a URL request object, and in the URL request object, pass in the web link that you wanted to display. In this tutorial, I will add the link to Flutter GitHub repository. As of now, we have completed the creation of a simple WebView widget. Let's try it out in the emulator. Seems like we get into an overflow error. So this in-app WebView widget has an unbounded height. So to fix this, either you can set a fixed height by wrapping this widget with a size box, or you can wrap this in-app WebView widget with expanded widget, so it will match the parent height. Now the web view successfully shown, and we can scroll on the content just like scrolling through a website. Now when I click on the link, I'm navigated to Flutter official website. However, when I click on the bottom left back button on my Android emulator, the app closed. This is certainly not a good user experience. Now I will show you how to control navigation in WebView. So in the in-app WebView widget, there is a parameter called initial settings. This parameter allows you to add additional configuration to the WebView, such as clear cache, adding user agent, incognito mode, and many more. So there is one configuration called allows back forward navigation gesture, which is a boolean, and by default is set to true. This is why we can navigate in the web view. If you doesn't want user to be able to navigate by clicking on any button or links in the web view, you can set this parameter value to false. Now I will leave this initial setting as empty. Now, if you want more control on the navigation, in the WebView widget, there is a parameter called onWebViewCreated. This parameter will return an in-app WebView controller. Now I will create a local in-app WebView controller variable and assign the return controller to the local WebView controller that I have created. So by getting this WebView controller, we have now more control on the WebView, including navigation. Next, I will wrap the scaffold widget with a PopScope widget. PopScope widget allows us to control the bottom left button on Android device. Firstly, set the canPop to false. Next, in onPopInvoke with result method, get the WebView controller. Now check if the controller is not null. Then check if controller can go back to make sure it's not in the initial page. Then execute go back method from the controller. This go back method is like navigation popped. Can go back method is an asynchronous operation, so make sure you add the async keyword. So go back method uses navigation popped. If you want to revert, you can use go forward method. Now we have completed handling WebView navigation. Let's try it out in the emulator. So this is the initial page. When I click on the link, I'm navigated to the new web page. And when I click on the read the blog button, I'm navigated to Medium article web page. When I click on the bottom left button, I'm returned to the previous web page instead of closing the app. And when I click again, I'm back to the initial WebView content. Lastly, in-app WebView in Flutter is not only able to display using web URL, it can also display with plain HTML tag. So for example, I have prepared a simple HTML script. Now I will show you how to display this HTML script as WebView in Flutter. So in the in-app WebView widget, there is another parameter called initial data. This in-app WebView initial data required a string data parameter, while my HTML scripts are stored in a string format. So just pass the HTML string to the data parameter, which I store the HTML string in a HTML constant. Now let's try it out in the emulator. So as you can see, it successfully displayed my HTML script with a paragraph and 2 URL links. When I click on the YouTube link, I'm navigated to YouTube web. Since my code still have the PopScope configuration, I managed to navigate back to my HTML content. Same goes to the Google link. In conclusion, this is how to create WebView in your Flutter app and how you manage navigation in WebView. If you have any question, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next tutorial.